Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Hello there, Chris Miller. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hello there, Eric and Danielle as well. Thank you all so much for showing up. Everyone, please give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. We've got to get these horrible stories out there. So this is the importance. Captions. Hello, welcome to Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Jaimann Eiland, 31, of Wisconsin, charged with throwing a toddler off a balcony. It was a second-story balcony. Thank God that the child did not get injured as severely. She's just 1 year old. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is the use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. This guy is like a father figure to her because it is, you'll see more with the story, y'all will see. Learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow, as it says in Isaiah 117 and Luke 17:2. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he cast into the sea, than that he should offend one of these little ones. In Colossians 3:21, fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. All right, without further ado, let's get on with the story. Like I like showing different pages, and there can be little bits of change in each one. So that's why I go over different ones, all right? So y'all know that about me. I try to get as much research as I can possible. I'm going to see if the video would allow me to play. If it won't, I just have to read everything. Well, it's not going to allow me to play that. Okay. Man intentionally drops 1 year old from balcony in fight with a child's mom. Wisconsin cops say. This is March the 20th, 2025. A man accused of dropping a 1 year old child off a balcony didn't think he went overboard. Can you believe it? You don't think he went overboard with his actions, Wisconsin authorities say. The toddler was injured and bruised following the March 13th incident in Milwaukee, but the injuries were not considered severe, according to a criminal complaint obtained by WITI. This is my baby involved, Shakira Walters told WISN. She could have died. She could have gotten really hurt from that. And I'm just mad. Police said the toddler was thrown after Walters was in a physical altercation with 31-year-old Jaimann Eiland of her mother, according to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. They were in an argument about the child running into Eiland while he was cooking, the publication reported. He is accused of grabbing the child and shaking her. Excuse me, y'all, a toddler, will run into things. Even 4 or 5 year old, they run into things. But this kid cannot really help, and you don't need to shake a baby anyway, also. As the argument intensified, the woman feared for her safety, according to WDJT, citing the court documents. Authorities said Eiland grabbed a knife and told the woman she was going to die. The news outlet reported. Eiland then picked up the 1 year old and lifted her by her neck on the second story porch, WITI reported, citing the complaint. He is accused of intentionally throwing the toddler off the 15-foot balcony, then punching the woman in the face for around a minute, according to the Journal Sentinel. He was definitely trying to kill my baby, Walters told WISN. When he turned himself in to the police, Eiland told officers he knew the fight had gone too far. Then he says when the baby fell, but he said he didn't think he went overboard. Do y'all believe he went overboard? Okay, hurry back, Chris. Thank you. However, he said he probably hit the woman too many times, the Journal Sentinel reported. Eiland was reportedly charged with substantial battery and domestic abuse and physical abuse of a child. Now let me go to the next one. Milwaukee man facing abuse charges after prosecutors say he intentionally threw the toddler off the balcony. Let's try to see if this plays. I don't know if it will. I'm new to this, okay? If it does. Let me go to the next one. Milwaukee man. Y'all hear it? Yeah, I don't think it did. Y'all can't hear it, can you? Can y'all hear it okay? I couldn't hear it when I tried to play it on my computer. Or I got it at YouTube, and it's not letting. I didn't hear the sound to it. So, according a 1 year old toddler is recovering from a near 16-foot fall off of a balcony on Milwaukee's north side, but prosecutors say it wasn't a fall at all. Can you hear us? Can you hear me now? Just in case. I didn't hear the sound to it. Hey, Cash. According a 1 year old toddler is recovering from a near. Okay. It's, so it wasn't wouldn't let me play the video. I'm sorry about that. According to court documents, the woman told investigators she and her young daughter were assaulted by her mother's husband last Thursday, identified as 31-year-old Jaimann Eiland. She reportedly told authorities she had heard the child crying and asked Eiland what had happened. But that conversation quickly escalated to a point where she feared for her safety. That's when she claims Eiland grabbed a knife and repeatedly told her she was going to die. Moments later, documents said Eiland placed his hands around the baby's neck and lifted her into the air as her mom tried to get her child back before he intentionally threw the baby off of the second story balcony. Police say Eiland later turned himself in and told detectives that after he saw the baby fall, he knew the fight had gone too far, that he didn't think he went overboard. Eiland's bail is set at $15,000. He'll appear in court. It's supposed to appear in court the 24th, but I haven't heard any more from the case yet. Good to see you, Cash. See, Milwaukee woman. See, there's different things that you can find at the different sites here, right? So, how to support someone in a domestic violence situation. Says Smita Nadia Hussain, co-founder of Bangladeshi American Women's Development Initiative, explains what to do if you suspect someone in is in an active domestic violence situation. And that was January 26, 2023. So here we go down. A 25-year-old woman says she was assaulted by her husband, and he also threw the 1-year-old girl off a nearby 16-foot high balcony. Now they're saying it's the mother's husband. Prosecutors charged 31-year-old Jaimann Eiland of Milwaukee on Monday with substantial battery in domestic abuse and physical abuse of a child, according to a criminal complaint. Officers responded to Frederick Hospital on March 13th to interview a bloodied 25-year-old woman regarding a domestic violence incident earlier in the day on the 4700 block of North 41st Street. The woman said her mother's husband assaulted her and threw her child off a second-story balcony following an argument in the home they all live in with the other family members. Wow, and she's 20 something, and the mother's boyfriend is 31. Okay. The woman said she arrived home around 5 p.m. and her child was running around the house when she heard a sudden and intense cry from the child. The woman said she went to the kitchen to determine what was wrong when Eiland said the child ran into him while he was cooking. The woman was not satisfied with Eiland's explanation and continued to ask what happened. Eiland and the woman began to argue. Eiland then used the child to reenact what happened. The woman told authorities Eiland was jostling the baby around and shaking her. Why are you grabbing her? The woman said to Eiland, according to the complaint. She attempted to grab for her child, but was unsuccessful until Eiland put the child down, the complaint said. The woman said Eiland then pushed her while they were in the kitchen, and she feared for her safety due to Eiland's large size. The woman grabbed her mace and discharged it in the direction of Eiland, according to prosecutors. The woman attempted to use her phone to call for help, but Eiland took it from her, according to the complaint. That's what they do a lot of times. The woman went to the bathroom to assess her injuries when Eiland entered with a butcher knife, saying, "You're gonna die today," the complaint said. Moments later, Eiland picked up the child and took her outside on the second-story porch, according to the complaint. Eiland then placed both of his hands around the child's neck and lifted her into the air, the complaint said. The woman described Eiland as moving her child back and forth in the air as he was holding her. The woman said Eiland held the child in the air like this for about a minute as she attempted to take the child out of his hands. She said Eiland punched the child one time on her left side as they were struggling over her. Oh my goodness, he punched a child, 1 year old, 1 year old child here. Eiland then intentionally threw the child off the balcony onto the ground below, according to the complaint. The woman said she saw her child land on her stomach. Investigators measured the balcony from the top of the porch to the ground below at 15 feet, 10 inches tall. Another family went down to check on the child. According to the complaint, after throwing her child off the balcony, Eiland began to punch the woman in the face again. She said this continued for another minute. Eventually, the woman was able to get outside and call 911 to report what happened. She received 3 stitches on her forehead and was diagnosed with a sprained finger on her left hand. Prosecutors said she also had pain and swelling at the top of her left hand and pain to her right leg. Her shirt was covered in blood. Officers also responded to Children's Hospital, where medical staff told officers the child sustained an abrasion on her forehead and left cheek. She also had petechiae on her right ear and a small bruise on her left shoulder. Medical exams at the time revealed no cranial or skeletal fractures, thank God. Eiland turned himself in to the Police District 7, as detectives were conducting investigations at the hospital and the scene. In his interview with detectives, he said the woman threatened to call people over to the house, accusing him of hurting the child. He said the woman and him were brawling, and it was a mutual fight. Yeah, you were shaking her kid. Excuse me. A mother's gonna be angry. You're shaking the kid. Had you heard of shaking baby syndrome? That can still even happen with a toddler. Boy, boy. This makes me mad. Welcome back, Chris. Sisters are very broken, ain't it? He said it's a mutual fight. Yet a mutual fight trying to protect her daughter. Don't y'all agree with that? Eiland said they were fighting on the porch, going back and forth with the child when the girl fell. He said once that occurred, he knew the fight had gone too far, so he left the house. He said he probably hit the woman way more times than she hit him, though. Officers observed swollen knuckles with small cuts on Eiland's hands. He had a small scratch on his face, but nothing visible on his chest or stomach area, according to prosecutors. Eiland made an appearance in court Monday, where bail was set at $15,000. He does not yet have a permanent attorney listed and was represented by a public defender Monday. If convicted, he faces up to 12 and a half years in prison, which he should. Which he should. Let me show y'all the sweet, precious little girl's picture right here. Here she is, y'all. Look at this beautiful little girl. She did not deserve being around that kind of atmosphere. No kid really does. But look at her. Look at this sweet, precious child. It's going to be the Look at here. Look how precious and sweet. Beautiful. Y'all need to give hearts to the family. And we saw this part right here. The mother says now she's fine. She's doing great. There's nothing I can really say. It's like she's just fine. As long as my baby's still breathing, that's it. And she was also saying, I don't know, got to find the one where it said, okay, here it says, Walter said the baby just missed hitting the top of an air conditioner and instead landed on the wet lawn. Whoa, whoa. What if she would have landed on the air conditioner? She would probably have not made it, right? Wow. Here's where he said, you going to die today? Man intentionally threw baby off second story balcony after tug of war with her mother. And here is the balcony. I suppose this is the picture of it. And here's the guy that did it. News footage of the Milwaukee, Wisconsin home where Jaimann Eiland allegedly threw a toddler off a balcony. And let's see if it says anything different. Jaimann Eiland, 31, was arrested March 15th after prosecutors said he intentionally threw a 1-year-old girl from the balcony of the Milwaukee, Wisconsin home of the baby's mother, Shakira Walters, whose age was not available. But you go in there and you think about the mother seeing her kid lifted up by her throat, right by her neck, and he's dangling her over the edge of the balcony. What are y'all gonna do? What are y'all gonna do? Are y'all gonna try to get the baby back over there where the baby don't get dropped? Right? She pulled kind of like a what was it, a Michael Jackson type of thing? Who was that actually dangled their baby over the ledge? Wasn't that Michael Jackson? Per the criminal complaint, the argument continued to become more heated, leading up to Eiland allegedly grabbing the little girl by her head dangling her over the second-story balcony of the home and dropping her onto the wet lawn outside, narrowly missing an air conditioning unit. All of them returned to the house, the complaint said, and allegedly physically attacked Walters. Wow, 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 wow. And it said that, but she told the outlet that she believed that Eiland was definitely trying to kill my baby. Of course. Who are you not? You're not trying to kill anybody, yet you go in the bathroom with a butcher knife? I mean, she was away after you done beat her, and she's trying to attend to herself, and you grab a butcher knife and you go in the bathroom and say you're going to die today, and then you proceed on to go grab the baby by the neck, by the throat, and hold her over the balcony. What mom is not going to be really angry and want you to put my baby down before something happens, right? You don't know what a good boy is, Chris? It said, see, when Walters took herself to and the baby after the alleged brawl with Eiland, who was identified as the ex-husband of Walters' mother. Awfully young, though, because it said in the earlier thing that Walters herself was 20-something year old and Eiland, it was 31. The Witchy reported, WITI, reported that the baby was treated for minor injuries while Walters was treated for sprained finger and a laceration to her forehead that required 3 stitches. Walters also reportedly had a swollen hand and pain in one of her legs, and a shirt was stained with blood. Okay, we basically saw that in the other thing right here. And this is where it says the next court appearance is on March 24th. I looked it up and I still didn't find anything. So maybe something will come up soon, and just continue to pray for this little girl. This little man does not need to be around any kids. I mean, if you're a kid, it's natural. A toddler's going to run into your leg. Why you got to be so upset, right? Well, and I'm looking over here to the right of the screen, and that kind of upsets me too. That story over here, where it says, I'm dying. A grandfather trying to pick up McDonald's Happy Meals for grandkids, shot dead in a gang related crossfire. Man, these stories just go on and on. But I do have another story, but I'll wait and try to do that tomorrow. Where the mom had killed her 5-year-old daughter. I believe it's the one where she had thrown her daughter down some stairs so that she could go to the boogeyman. Yeah, I don't understand, holding babies as they were vulnerable. I shake holding babies as they are vulnerable. Yeah, want to hand back kids, so don't damage them. Exactly. And when somebody's intentionally dangling them over the side, you know what I'm saying? Something more's got to be going on here. We have to advocate for the children. Because who is? The kid can't speak up for themselves. So remember to get this out there. This child did not deserve it. The mother did not deserve it. I believe that she was trying to protect her daughter. When he was trying to show her what he had done to the child, and when he was showing her what he had done to the child, he picked her up and was shaking her. Okay. So, yes, as a mother, I will be upset about that too. You do not do that. And for him to get mad because she ran into his leg while he was cooking at the stove. You know, excuse me, kids are going to run into you. You just have to. They got to be in a safe place, And we're hold your nephews, hold your nieces, and I were like, don't no, don't want to drop them. Yeah. Time with my oldest son, I took him to a doctor for a recheck. He was probably about a month old or so, and he raised him up in the air, and then he just dropped him, and it had to be at least 10 inches off up in the air or a little more. And I went like that trying to catch him, and he just let him fall. And my worry was like he did not have control on his neck, right? And when he drops him on that hard, it's really not soft. The exam tables for a baby, to really land like that, because he could have landed on his neck and broke his neck. And he said, "No, don't panic. I'm just checking his reflex. It's okay to let him drop that far and fall like that." I know you got to support his head, right, y'all? You got to support his head. So after that, I never took him back to that doctor ever again. I'm like, no, thank you. So, we do got to protect our kids. Y'all get the word out. This little girl, I'm so glad that she was not hurt very badly. But imagine the kind of mental anguish she's going through hearing all that, right? Yeah, they're just teeny, they're precious. You're right. But imagine the verbal abuse that she's hearing, and then she's seeing the physical, what's being done to her mom, right? She's seeing what this guy is doing, bloodying up her mom. That's gonna scar her. She's gonna be scarred for life just being in the presence of even seeing that violence, and the blood. I was like, brother, you're like, no, you were too nervous, huh? Oh yeah. You ever think that you're gonna end up trying to have a kid? You and your wife? It makes me a little bit afraid for anybody to have any kids and the way the world is today, especially. Well, thank y'all so much, and I'll say God bless y'all, and thanks for coming. And please like, subscribe, and share.